Welcome everyone to what we hope to be another fun and informative episode of Pink Basket TV. Now, I want to talk to you about this channel. It came together as part of a project, the pinkbasket.ca, where a number of community organizations pulled together and volunteered their time in an effort to help businesses and the LGBTQ2S plus community connect during this challenging time of a pandemic. So for businesses, you can submit your free listing, you can submit a blog. Hopefully, if you've got a great story, we'll get to interview you. And for community, these are all available resources. You can read the blogs, view the interviews, and check out the businesses' listings and support them, and support your local business and give them a call. I'm your host, Antoine Elhashem, and today we're looking at food and farmers, which is extremely crucial in any given time, but even more so while we're trying to stay healthy and eating well during a pandemic. With us today, I've got Dave from Kendal Hills Farm, and let me bring him on. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Hi, everyone. Hey.
Hello, how are you?
Doing great.
Nice to have you on the show. I'm going to start with this question. Business is all about people. We want to know the people behind the businesses. So tell us a little bit about your background, your history, what led you on the path to do this?
Okay, well, so I'm sitting right now on the porch of the farm that my partner Emily grew up on. And we had been living in downtown Toronto when her parents informed her that they were ready to sell the place. And we said, absolutely not. We want to keep this in the family. And so we made the move 4 years ago now to come out and revive the farm that she grew up on. It had been operating mainly as a hobby farm for the last 20 years. The farm is still a lot of it's just that it's not producing a lot of food to feed people. So we set about getting that going again. My background had been in working on food issues across Canada, looking to increase access to healthy food for everyone. So becoming a farmer was a bit of a stretch for me, but not a surprise to people that know that I'm extremely passionate about food. And so for the last 4 years, we've gone to work kind of trying to establish these 70 acres as something where you can have a small farm that works with a forest, because most of this land is forested or it's old orchard, and we grow a variety of poultry. So chicken, turkey, duck, pigeon, partridge. We raise pigs in the forest, and we cultivate a lot of mushrooms. And that's just a start. Like, we have a vision for this place that is around.
Okay. Congratulations.
Expecting
I love the scene.
Yeah.
Brilliant. The scene behind you is wonderful. I keep looking behind you on all the greenery. It's gorgeous. So it's a family farm that you basically took over.
Yes, we moved in with Emily's parents and have spent the last 4 years reviving this place, establishing it as a new farm. And to be honest, we're days away from actually completing the transfer of ownership from one generation to the next.
Beautiful. Congratulations. That's very exciting.
Yeah.
So, you're okay. So you're new to that farm. But my next question is, what bragging we all have something unique or something that we're so proud of. What are you so proud of with Kendal Hills Farm? What makes you special and unique?
What makes us special is, I think, that we approached this from day one as diversity on a farm was crucially important for the future of food, period, like for the decades to come, in that you can't, we don't believe that you should grow a single crop. It's around how do you grow multiple things and have those things work together, which is much more about a learning journey. Like, there's no playbook to any of this. It's really figuring things out, being responsive and adaptive, and learning as you go. And we're only 4 years into what I would say is a 20-year journey of working with these 70 acres. but I'd like to think that in just those 4 years, we figured out a lot. And more importantly is that I think there's a lot of people that understand what it is that we're trying to do and are very supportive of it. So yeah, that we've established, a fairly successful small farm in just 4 years. I'm really, really proud of that.
That's very wonderful. I understand that you are LGBTQ friendly, but you have never. I guess again, you're new to taking over the farm. You've never forayed into advertising or reaching out to the LGBT community until now.
Correct.
And as part of some changes you've made to be able to address the challenges with operating during COVID-19. So tell me about all of that. What are you doing now that's different from what you were doing a couple of months ago?
Well, in terms of our farm, we're not doing much different at all. Like, we're growing a lot more food this year than we had expected. But the big change for us during the pandemic came in the very first days when we converted our online farm store into a virtual farmers market, where we could act and serve as a collection point for other food producers. So other small farms, other small businesses that make food, so that homes across the GTA could actually buy their groceries from a number of these farmers. All that food is actually harvested and made after somebody has ordered it, and then brought to our farm, where we package it into groceries and make the home deliveries. So we call that a virtual farmers market. And that's the piece, that's the big thing that we've adapted to, is that before the pandemic, we relied on direct sales from our farm or at a farmer's market or directly to a restaurant. And we were one of, this is how a lot of the small producers operate. What that means is that let's say you've got 40 small producers. We're all driving this to the same places every week, delivering the same food to the same market, to the same restaurants. This was a way for us to actually send one truck to make those deliveries. And that means each of us is actually spending more time on the farm and less time on the highways. And that, for me, is like the incredible thing. If we can maintain it, is going to change and strengthen the local food system. And so, but part of this is a whole new way of doing business. Before, like, we would go to a farmer's market, or each of us would individually advertise and promote our farm. So when it came to, well, how do we let more individuals know about what this thing is? For Emily and I, we've always considered ourselves allies, and we take that role seriously. And so when deciding who should we advertise to, we've never advertised anywhere before. When we were approached by Inspired, we said, yes, that just makes so much sense, given who some of our existing relationships are, what our values are. Let's start with the community that we already love and appreciate, and see what grows from that.
That's beautiful. I really like your collaborative spirit. You're actually, while you're talking, it's giving me hope that maybe as a society, as a species, we learn things of how to operate better. Even in good times, there's nothing wrong with collaboration. So I think maybe that farmers market and everybody pooling their resources, so there's less trucks on the road, could be a way of the future. Maybe we are learning lessons that we are better off working together than working against one another.
I really hope so. I really hope so.
Very nicely. Well, again, in the 4 years since you've been on the farm, have you learned any, let's talk about the clients. Have you learned any new ways that you are serving and catering to your clients? Have you learned about your clients certain things that have changed how you serve them?
Yeah, I'd say so, because the reality of being a small farmer, a small producer that relies on direct sales, is that it's about relationships, right? Like, this is not about a commodity or a product. It's not about supplying into a massive food chain where there's no transparency or connection between the people eating the food and the people growing and making the food. Okay. And so what I've learned in 4 years is that, it's through those relationships. It's what surprised me at first is that it's not a one-way relationship. It's not just that I'm providing food to people. I've had some of the homes that we feed like bring some of that food back to me to taste, to say like this is what we're making with it, or or I buy art from some of them. There's this other thing, you get to know people in a different way, and it's not that it's purely transactional. It's like actually in a relationship with the people, like for me as a farmer, with the people that are eating the food. And that's been really interesting. And what that allows for is education both ways, because some of what I grow, it's unique what I grow. It's also unique some of the varieties. It's not stuff that, like, if all we've ever done is buy food from a grocery store, some of the mushrooms that I bring to market or are available through the farmer's market now, are not things that you've ever seen before. Like, there are pink mushrooms, gold mushrooms, like
Oh,
black
wow.
pearls, like these beautiful mushrooms that I've had to learn how to cook with. And I share that with the homes, but they're also sharing what they're doing with it. And there's this kind of back and forth and interplay that's really, really amazing and beautiful. That's the fun piece for me, is that it's not traditional business where you kind of view everybody as a cash sale. It's not like that. It's that you're
I
viewing
could see
everybody
that.
as a relationship. Yeah.
You're working with earth, all those feelings. So, and quite frankly, you're making me hungry talking about mushrooms and their colors. I, I love those.
Yeah.
Who are your dream clients? Who is your client? Who's your dream client?
I think for the new piece, so the virtual farmers market, which is now supporting over 40 small producers, I think our dream client right now is somebody who always wanted to buy local food, but truthfully hasn't had the ability to, like, maybe to go to the farmers market every week, or like buy directly from a farm. Because what we're wanting to do out of this isn't to, I guess, siphon customers away from where people are already supporting local food, but to try to bring more people to the abundance and diversity of local food and seasonal food. So, and that's what I'm starting to see with some people, is like, they're like, wow, I've never had the chance to, because let's face it, if you're working double shifts, or you're working weekends, or away on weekends, or you've got young kids that are enrolled in extracurricular activities, like, being able to get to a farmer's market on a Saturday morning is a luxury, right? And so we're trying to figure out a different way to get this amazing food to people's doorsteps.
My sister is gonna kill me if she knows that I said this on the show, but her children are 20 years old now and slightly around those ages, and she's never really cooked in her life until now.
Yeah.
And suddenly now she's really getting into the kitchen, getting into bike. So you're right. We've got the time. People are considering, other ways of doing, life, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And food is a very, very important factor of our lives.
Most definitely.
I don't just eat. I just don't eat. I enjoy food. So,
yes.
What inspires you in business, David? Dave, sorry.
Yeah. Yes. Only my parents call me David. I guess what inspires me the most is the potential for impact, right? Before becoming a farmer, I worked on food issues in Canada. I understand how complex some of these issues are when it comes to addressing everything from food waste to hunger to the environmental impact to animal welfare. Like, these are very challenging, complex pieces that collectively we understand we need to address. And so I'm looking for, like, what inspires me is the potential that you can have impact. You can address these things through the choices you make every day. And I forget exactly the exact number, but one time I heard, like, we make hundreds, if not thousands, of choices around food every day. If you think of everything from, like, am I going to eat breakfast, to what am I going to have for breakfast, and, like, where did those things come from? Are they fat free? Are they low fat? Are they sugar? Like, all of these things, like, we actually make, either habitually or consciously, hundreds, if not thousands, of decisions around food every day. And what excites me and inspires me is the potential to shift just a handful of those ideas to something that, could create a more resilient local food system where people are getting paid fair wages, where we're respecting, the health of our communities, of our homes, and the environment. Like, that's the piece that inspires me, is like that business as usual doesn't need to be the norm going ahead.
That's good. Yes, beautiful. Everyone, we're enjoying all the wonderful stuff Dave is saying and listening to all the birds behind him. We're getting two treats today. What inspires you in life in general?
It must be a sign of aging or maturity, but it really is some of the simple things now. Like seriously, sitting on this porch, enjoying my family, my kids, the setting that I'm in. Like it's
That's wonderful.
yeah.
And we learn to appreciate this more and more as we get older. Absolutely. How are you guys staying safe during COVID-19? How are you spending your time? What are you doing to keep safe? I guess living in a far or away from the city gives you that opportunity not to have to deal with a lot of public transportation and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been yeah, because we've had to adapt because we have 3 generations living on the farm, and so for the older generation, we all of us decided that I'll be the one looking after getting groceries and running errands, trying to really limit the amount of time that they have to spend out, whether it's grocery shopping or whatever. My partner Emily is working from home full time, and then truthfully for me, it's very little difference. I live and work at the same place. That's what being a farmer is. So it's, we've taken all the precautions around the people coming and going from the farm when it comes to supplies and deliveries. Like we don't allow access to the farm. There's little things that we've had to change, and I guess one of the biggest challenges for us is like, yes, we love this piece of land and we love being able to share it with other people. And we've had to say no, whether it's friends, guests, and the homes that we feed. It's that we're sorry we're not able to host you right now. We'd like to again someday, but we can't. Like,
I'm glad you're staying safe. It's absolutely it's the way to go. Absolutely these days.
yeah.
And we will be back to having people over at some point.
Yeah.
So let's do the contact stuff. How can you find Kendal Hills Farm, your social media, all that sort of stuff? How can we get you?
Yeah, so the most of everything that we've done right now, at least for the short term, we've transitioned to virtualfarmersmarket.ca. Is how you could find us and all of the other food that we're collecting from our neighbors. And then that's also the Facebook URL, and Instagram is virtualfarmers.market. If you're interested in our farm, or just our farm, where we try to share what it is that we're up to by working with the forest and all the livestock, it's Kendal with 1 L, hillsfarm.ca. And that's also our Instagram and Facebook.
Beautiful, thank you. Let's close with a recommendation. We're all looking to have some good feelings these days. Have you been reading any book or watching a film or something that made you feel and you wanna recommend?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the podcast. So one of the things that I like, harvesting mushrooms is oddly therapeutic. And it's something where I can put in audiobooks or podcasts and just listen to things. And I've been listening a lot to the Pushkin Industries podcast, which is the one that's owned by Malcolm Gladwell, and there's several on there that I find really interesting. Yeah, I'd say give those a read, but do it in a setting where it's where you just sit back and enjoy, and like the thought-provoking ideas that are being shared.
Beautiful. All right, everyone, give that a look. And with that, I'm glad that I wore my flower shirt. I feel like I match your background.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. This has been very, very pleasant, and you seem to be doing awesome work, and proud to see all the great work you're doing for our communities to feed us well. Thank you.
Thank you, Antoine. Thank you for
Have a
having me.
great day.
Cheers, you too.